Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Friday, the 21st day of March 2025. Happy Friday, happy spring, happy equinox. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope your family is safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who every day are doing their best to save lives, and those that pick up garbage to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children that are victims of child molestation and pedophilia. Those out here helping people that are victims of pornography and child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on all the perpetrators, the profiteers, and those perverts that create the demands that make these industries exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 600,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, and veterans homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game in Charlotte, North Carolina last night. The New York Knicks lost to the Charlotte Hornets 115-98. I learned more from Knicks losses, honestly, than I do from Knicks victories. And what I mean, I learned more about the fan base, or the so-called fan base. There are people, and I'm finding there are different types of people that call themselves fans of basketball in New York Knicks. There are types of people that like to argue and debate about the Knicks. No matter what they're doing, there's always an argument, a debate, something to rile up. And I find those people generally are unhappy in their private lives, and they like to argue and debate in general. I'm a man that seeks peace, and so I don't like to argue and debate about the Knicks or anything else. Then there are those that are trying to be or live vicariously. Maybe they disappointed in their life or whatever through the Knicks, and they're trying to coach or GM, and they're insistent that the Knicks do exactly what they're telling the Knicks to do, and if they don't, they're upset. And I actually believe that these are professionals, and they paid a lot of money to do what they do, and second guessing the team that I support is not something I enjoy. So I don't like that either. Then there was a guy that came on my channel talking about, I understand they were tired, but that's an excuse. But there's no excuse. There are people that try to say every loss is an excuse. If there's no excuses for any loss, right, then somebody should be 82-0, right? If there's no excuse for any loss, somebody should be 82-0, but nobody's 82-0. So therefore, there are reasons, legitimate reasons, that teams lose games, including the New York Knicks. No, really, my channel is really to support, encourage, and rejoice at Knicks victories, and support and encourage the Knicks when they're going through tough times, like now. This is a meat grinder part of the schedule for them. There's a lot of back-to-backs. They don't have Jalen Brunson. Mitch Robinson's coming back. And so, there's period like last night, like this week. They have 4 games in 5 nights. The first game was at MSG, then they go to San Antonio, then they go to Charlotte, and they come back to MSG. That right there is a formula for fatigue to catch up. If you know basketball, like I like watching good basketball. Like yesterday, I saw a little bit of the Georgia-Gonzaga game. Gonzaga plays beautiful basketball, disciplined, making the right play, playing the right way. And they really overwhelmed the Georgia team yesterday. So I like watching good basketball. And when you understand and see good basketball, as the Knicks have played for most of this season and under the Tom Thibodeau era, then you start to see teams that are really better than other teams. But sometimes in the league, like I said, any team could be any team. Last night was an example of that. The Knicks, to me, are clearly better than the Charlotte Hornets. But they were clearly fatigued. And the Hornets kept giving them chances to come back because the Hornets are not as good of a team. But because of their fatigue, they could not take advantage of that. And that is shown in a couple of areas. Again, shooting is one of the areas. So the Knicks, again, shot 26% from three last night compared to 47 for Charlotte. And it wasn't that Charlotte is a great three-point shooting team. And it's not that the Knicks are a terrible defensive team at all. It's just that the Knicks were fatigued. They were step slow, couldn't get out to the shooters. And that NBA level shooters, no matter what team they on, are good. And they're going to hit the shots. Versus the Knicks, who couldn't buy a basket because they had no legs. Again, it's also shown in the rebounding. The Knicks get out-rebounded 52-38. Offensive boards, they got out-rebounded by 11-9. Again, no Mitchell Robinson. Okay? And they were, again, fatigued. So these things show you that this is just a meat grinder part of the schedule. It's not going to last forever. It doesn't with any team. And this is another thing. People pick on the Knicks that's supposed to be fans as if the Knicks are the only ones that go through these things. Every team, from Cleveland to Oklahoma City, every team goes through this. Okay? In different variations and in different degrees, but it happens to every team. And it's not going to last forever. And there's the media types that make every little loss or every couple of losses as, oh man, how are they going to break this curse? Oh man, this is terrible. And again, it's back to the old syndrome of what the Knicks used to be before Tom Thibodeau, before the Don came. This ain't the same organization. Okay, and that's another thing. There are people that have that battered wife syndrome that think because, under Ernie Grunfeld or under Scotty Sterling or under other people, the Knicks were bad, that this is the same situation. It's not. James Dolan gave the keys of the team and of the organization to Phil Jackson, who proceeded to continue to ruin it. Then he fired Phil Jackson, $860 million, and eventually gave the keys to Leon Rose, who over the course of 5 years has built this team into a long-term sustainable winner. So you're going to have periods of time where you're losing ball games for different reasons. Somebody's hurt, or a group of people hurt in this case. Mitchell Robinson just coming back. Jalen Brunson's not available. And then you got back-to-backs in 4 games and 5 nights situations that are going to grind you. Like I said, this is not going to last forever. But those who are really fans are not going to use this as an opportunity to debate about the Knicks, to debate about trades, to talk about how bad the coaching is, or to fire the coach, or the general manager. And you got all those idiots out there. I just want them to stay off my channel. Okay? And one knucklehead comes on my channel yesterday and goes, I haven't seen any improvement since October. See, when you make a stupid statement like that, and talk about, have you seen October? Like, you want me to actually, see, I'm not going to engage in stupidity. I got rid of that guy. I said, don't come back here. And listen here. Since Mitchell Robinson's return, the Knicks are top 2 in the NBA, in defense. I would think that's an improvement. Tom Thibodeau has been in the top 5, top 7 all year long offensively, in offensive rating. I would think that's an improvement. So to say there's no improvement from October is a stupid statement. And it's telling me you want to argue. It's also telling me you need to get out of here. This is a Knicks fan channel. We rejoice in the Knicks. And again, if those of you like me who's been around for a while and seen bad basketball, bad management, you're going to appreciate what you got now. Those people talk about fire Tibbs, don't come here. Like I said, you see it in the disclaimer, don't come here. This ain't the spot. I've seen too many bad coaches over the 50 years I've been watching the Knicks. Too many bad coaches. I've seen some good ones, and I've seen a lot of them get run out of town. Tom Thibodeau been looking for this Knicks job since he come out of Connecticut in New Britain. And he finally got his dream job. He ain't going nowhere, and I'm glad of that. And I want to see him continue to develop this team. And this particular iteration with these particular group of guys, including Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, of course, and the rest of the guys, continue to develop this group of guys, this team. So yeah, it was a bad night last night. They haven't had a good week, and yes, they missing Jalen Brunson, but I'm not as worried about that because I know JB's gonna be back when it's time for the playoffs, and in April he'll be back. And in the meantime, I really do trust Deuce they get the job done. They just got to overcome this right here, this low energy level that they're dealing with. Now, as far as the schedule, it's going to be tough because tomorrow they got Washington at the Garden and they ain't getting no real break. But after Washington, the next game, so they play tomorrow night against the Wizards in MSG. But after that, they get a bit of a break because the next game is like 3 days later. That's what they need. See, that's what they need. So the next game after tomorrow, they get a 3-day break, and then they come back. Let's see who they playing. They got Dallas at MSG on Tuesday. Now that's good. They ain't got no travel. They at MSG. They come back Tuesday. Then they got the Clippers at MSG. It's a back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday, of course. But they ain't got no travel. So I'm looking at a better situation there. Then they travel to Milwaukee for next week, Friday, and come back home for 2 games against Portland and Philly. So I think a respite is coming, a recovery is coming. They need it. Tomorrow I expect a tough game because, again, this is their 4th game in 5 nights. So it's going to be tough. But being at MSG, you're hoping that they can bring enough energy to get it done. Rest today, come back. Last night was second night of back-to-back. So they get the rest today, back home. They're coming from Charlotte, which is not as long a trip as San Antonio. So they're coming from Charlotte. They get a little bit of a break. Hopefully they can sum up some energy for tomorrow night. Mitchell Robinson should be back, and that would help a lot, both in terms of minutes and in terms of energy and in terms of rebounding, in terms of defense. Just him coming back is going to help a lot. So that's a good sign. So hopefully they can get by Washington tomorrow night. Then they get a little bit of a 3-day rest before they got to play Dallas and then the Clippers back-to-back. So, again, it's a tough part of the schedule. It's a grind. Everybody goes through it. And the Knicks, it's their turn, okay? So, yeah, I wanted them to go 2-1 in these last 2. But, hey, understanding that losing that game to San Antonio was going to make it tougher to win against Charlotte, So it is what it is. But those of us that are fans, stay with our team when they're losing. Don't whine and talk about trades and NBA 2K moves just because they lose a couple of games. It's a long-term view. You got to look. And this team has been built over 5 years, and now you're here, okay? And so you got your coach that's been with that 5-year program, and now we move to the next level. Like I said, I expect Mitch Rob to be ready for the playoffs. JB to be ready for the playoffs and us going into that situation. OG Anunoby played very well last night. This is a guy that really, he could have got his $200 million as guys have done in the past and sat, and always hurt. No, he has showed up this year and he's putting out and he's putting his effort in. And OG, again, with OG and McCall, the wing stop's going to be a problem come playoff time. But for right now, they got to get through this grind. And they need the real fans to support them in this, right? Not complain and whine about it, okay? Support them. They need the real fans to support them. Not second-guessing the coach. Somebody said they lost in San Antonio because Thibodeau left Payne or Shaman in too long. No, they was beat. It was a long trip, okay? Period. Pro team. The guy had a career day. It is what it is. We lost. Move on. Next game, Washington, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Happy Friday to you. Be safe out there. Hope your family, enjoy your family. Sure.